Hare Hari Bol. Let's give a big round of applause to all the Kirtanyas who have been chanting for the peace, the situation in Russia, Ukraine. So we have dedicated this kirtan for them, for the devotees in that area, and all the people who are staying and who are going through such a hard situation. So we will continue to pray, and one more time, big Hari Bol to all of you. So today is a very special day. You know why? Because it's our first in-person session at ISKCON. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Yes, we all have been waiting for this day for a very, very long time, and finally it's here. And let's pray that it stays like this forever. So today we have a very, very special, my favorite speaker, my personal favorite, so Naveen Krishna Prabhu. Hari Bol! He's gonna resume our in-person Sunday Feast talks today, and the topic is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, and he will give some more thoughts on why he appeared a few hundred years ago. And a brief introduction. Everybody knows Naveen Krishna Prabhu, but I'll still say it because I would love to. So Naveen Krishna Prabhu is one of our senior most temple council members, senior most congregation member, and very old. Naveen Krishna Prabhu is a dear disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, and he's been serving the community for over 20 years. He's serving devotees in all the aspects, in prasadam, in preaching, in kirtans, home programs, and even the OSU youth outreaching programs. So his services are really priceless, matchless, and let's hear from Naveen Krishna Prabhu. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. And also, we are resuming, and you might notice one new thing. We now have wireless microphone. Thanks to Hari. That's real Hari Bol.
No karma. No.
Yes, Prabhu. We'll sing quick Jaya Radha. Welcome to Sunday Love Feast. Hopefully more devotees come to take part. We have so much of love we want to share. We cook so much. Sunday Love Feast.
Don't worry.
Because the last talk for Shalom was over, now
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Gopijana Yeah.
That's for the live stream.
For live stream.
Zoom and live stream.
Welcome all senior devotees, especially Kamagiri Mataji coming after a long time, 2 years, no, 1.5 year break. We opened the temple, resume, but looking at you for first time after a long time this year, really grateful. Thank you very much.
Haribo!
And also, I've seen, are you coming for first time?
We started.
Oh, it's far, okay. I could not recognize. I could not recognize Prabhu. With the mask, with that. But anyway, welcome back. All the devotees, so happy to see. In person is live, it brings life, energy. So happy to see devotees' face in person. So I always miss, I never like the Zoom classes. Okay, so today we're going to talk about Lord Chaitanya, Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So, Gauri Purnima is coming in few days. It's a prelude, set the mood. So, we'll talk about few things. Maybe some of you already know, but however, for my own purification, I'll speak few words, even though I don't have any qualification. Did I see my specs somewhere here? It was here, somebody moved it.
Oh, it's right in that back.
Oh, backside, okay. Getting old. Okay. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appearance, of course, as the devotee is going to talk about more details about his appearance. But I want to touch few aspects. What is his reason to appear? There's 3 internal reasons and 3 external reasons. So we'll touch base that. To understand that, who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we understand some basics. So from tattva perspective, tattva means the nature. So one time, I'll just give an analogy so that you understand what the point I'm saying to make. Brahma, the creator of this universe, is called Chaturmukhi Brahma. He has 4 heads. Chatur means 4. He visited Dwaraka. When he visited Dwaraka, of course, this Dwaraka is like, Krishna's Sudharma is a palace, is actually 120 miles in long. If you read Krishna book or 10th canto, they explain all the the details. I was thinking from here to Pittsburgh, just imagine to understand 120 miles. A room with full of opulences, big as from here to Pittsburgh. Can you fathom that? You drive 3 hours to get to the end. That is the room where Krishna have his assembly. All the devotees, his relatives, all his subjects, where they meet on daily basis. Can we imagine? At least my limited mind, I can't. Theoretically, we can. In that, Brahma comes. He told the doorkeeper, "I come here. The purpose is I wanted to see Krishna." And then he went and told. And since Krishna sensed the pride. So one thing Krishna doesn't like in his devotees is the pride, because that separates him from the devotees. There's a pride, Aham Brahmasmi, I'm a servant of Krishna. That's natural, that's nice. But when it comes as separation from Krishna, that Krishna don't appreciate that. Oh, please ask him which Brahma. When he went and asked which Brahma got bewildered. He started scratching. As for then you only have 2 hands, but 4 heads. Started scratching, but he didn't say anything. Eventually he got inside. When he got inside, the Krishna was opulently sitting in his, the main seat, throne. And there's no relatives, there's nobody, there's only him. And there's so many Brahmas. Some has 5 heads, some are 10 heads, some are 1,000 heads. It is explained some are million heads, billion heads. In that room, even though 120 feet long, how many Brahmas? With his 8 eyes in 4 directions, he could not fathom that. How come a Brahma has 1,000,000 heads? That depends on the size of the universe that required the responsibility of the person who maintains it. So that many heads he needed. All came and they were doing this wonderful description is given how they are worshipping Krishna. And Krishna did not say a word. He looked, "Oh Brahmaji, come. Do you have any questions?" He said, "No. I just came for darshan." Because he's super intelligent, because in that level he doesn't need an explanation. Even when Indra got offended Krishna, Krishna did not say anything, he just looked at him. That's it. Why we have to shout at somebody, argue with somebody? Because the less intelligence. Intelligence people looking at, even the people in love, they don't have to talk, they look at the eyes and talk. Why somebody get angry and shout? Because even though they are fought, they have to express themselves. I'm sitting here and talking as if I'm not pure. I'm also struggling like anybody else. I'm just saying. So then eventually he left. The point I was trying to make here, with that Brahma, who's creator, who saw Krishna, who got the instruction of Krishna, who created, the same Brahma again bewildered in Brahma Vimochan Lila to find out who is this talkative boy. You know the story, how he tried to steal cows and Krishna. So this person with that intellect, so much of tapasya he did it, he could not understand Krishna. Some of us thinking, I see Krishna in my dream. I spoke about Bhagavatam class, I can chant nicely, I can cook nicely, I sit, that's nicely, I know Krishna. Just imagine ourselves of foolishness. The one who says, I understand Krishna, that means understanding itself is invalid. So that is to establish the supremacy of Krishna and to understand him, who is Mahajana Yenukata Sapanta Brahma Janata Mahajana. He himself says, I cannot understand. Now, fast forward. Now Krishna wanted to understand himself. One day when Golok Vrindavan was sitting there, and he saw his image in the golden pillar, which is decked with all the jewels. He saw his beauty, he saw enchanting. He got mesmerized. Then he went and spoke to Radharani. So I see, I'm so beautiful, but how do I experience this? She said, no, you can't. He was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishaya. And then now, unless you become Ashraya, that is me, you cannot understand. So that is the time where he said, okay, I want to be like you. He said, no, you cannot be like me. You have to be me to understand me, so that that person can understand you. So that's the reason Krishna decided to come to material world as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Krishna, but in the mood of Radharani, in the complexion of Radharani. Now, first Jiva, who cannot understand Krishna. Next is Brahma, who cannot understand. Now, Krishna himself cannot understand Krishna. Krishna himself cannot understand Krishna. He is so great. Like, as an ordinary person, Prabhupada explained in one of the purport, height of ignorance. Can anybody remember? Height of ignorance is making extraordinary person as ordinary person as extraordinary person. Everybody, God. God is like everybody. So now, when, like I'm a person, there's a dog is there. The dog barks, not many people pay attention. If I bark like a dog, people pay the money to come and see me. They get a musician, so many things, they can do a lot of things. So it's unnatural. So, extraordinary person doing ordinary things done by extraordinary person. So if extraordinary person, let's for example, the president come to your home one day, let's have a pancake breakfast. He's great. Because he's just come to your home, so I want to have breakfast with you. So that's a sweetness. That's what we discussed. Greatness and sweetness combination is Damodar Leela. God is so great, but he makes him available so that we can relate. We can talk, we can argue. Like, that's when that happens, a sweetness. Just imagine the greatness and sweetness mixed is called Audharya. That's magnanimity of Krishna in the mood of Radharani at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That even Krishna cannot understand his greatness. This is very esoteric, but to understand, just to make us humble. Somebody walks into temple, we should be grateful. How many lifetimes passed? Sunday feast starts at 11. How many of us we can say at 10:59 here? because I wanted to show Krishna I'm here. So that initially we don't have love. Jiva Goswami explained the love will not come first. First start with the duty. First obligation will turn into duty when you do consistently through sadhana. The duty one day can become prema, love. So this sweetness and greatness combination, audharya, that Magnani Bhatti Chaitanya Prabhu, he says, now you don't have any qualification. Doesn't matter. You come anyway. No qualification. Somebody asked Prabhupada, how can you give so much of knowledge, so much of love, all these things? Because I know you don't have qualification, but take it. Your qualification is just to take at least and practice what you have. At least accept. We can show, Mother Earth said, I cannot bear a person who is ungrateful. A person who is ungrateful, Mother Earth cannot bear. Whoever helped us, mother, father, friends, whoever it may be, we should never ever forget the reason we are here. So Mother Earth says that. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says all is just accept and practice, and if possible give it to others. If possible, give it to others. So that's how we can show our gratitude to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This Audarya nature of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is unheard. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes actually, he came in the year 1486, February 18th. We're going to talk about that in a few weeks, who was in the class. He was here in this world for Earthly Lila for 48 years. So if you divide 3 times, Adi Lila, Madhya Lila, Antya Lila. Last 16 years he spent in incognito. Like, he himself with a couple of Swarup Damodar Goswami and then Ramananda Rai and a few others, he spent time. And then Haridas Thakur. And sometimes devotees comes from Mayapur. So, but those 16 years he spent in that realm of a seeker's secret and experiencing what does Radharani feels for him. So we're going to talk about that in a second. So Mahabharata explains Tarko Pratishto Stiyato Vibhinna Nasa Visali Esse Matam Bhinnam Dharmasya Tattvam Nihitam. Dharmasya Tattvam. This tattva of Krishna consciousness cannot be understood by dry philosophy. It cannot be understandable with logic. It has to be understood by following Mahajana Yunikata Sapranta, following the footsteps of devotees. Like, for us, the Acharya is Srila Prabhupada, and who follows his sincere teachings. So now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to understand his Leela, we have to understand his mode. He's Radharani, it's the topmost gopi. So following the footsteps of gopis. Not that extent where you become sahaja. So there are some sahajas, like, Jiva Goswami explained, the person who goes to 10th canto directly, don't listen from him. He has to start understand the greatness of Krishna first. 1, 2, 3, 4, then finally come to 10th canto, then you can understand the sweetness. Then one who charges money from Bhagavatam, spiritual programs, those are things not acceptable. And then some chant with a cheap mentality, attacking the crowd, crying the crowd, like Hare Krishna, all those things. Those are the sentimental only person between you and Krishna. So that Sahaja Tattva, even though he is giving, but we should not feel like, it's like a fish is thinking. We were taking a bath in the ocean, so do moon. Moon comes out of ocean, it thinks it's also like another fish. We should not have that mentality. So that's the reason our foot should be on the ground. We have to understand this tattva, siddhanta, the greatness of God, and the sweetness is his duty. His responsibility will reveal to us one day. But we should be grateful. We should maintain both greatness and sweetness, and then flow of mercy flow, Audarya. So one time in Mahaprakash Leela, he's giving a darshan to everybody, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Everybody is asking, and Advaita Acharya asks, what do you want? So we give message to everybody, but don't give to those people who are hypocrite. Chaitanya Bhagavat explains, say something, do something. We were talking about yesterday, home program. What is Mahatma, what is Duratma? Duratma means the soul which is ungrateful, doing the things, saying something. Mahatma is great soul. What they think, that's what they speak, even if it is hard. What they speak, that's what they do. Their thoughts, words, and deeds are in perfect synchronization. If somebody says something, do something, keep a distance. Chanakya Pandit, he also said the same. You keep one person who correct you, who always be your well-wisher. Don't keep a devotees like a sunshine devotees or fair weather devotees around. Look at the flabbergasting of the words. Eventually, the time comes when they'll also condemn you. So we should be very careful. So this has to be understood in the path of Mahajanayana Katra Sapanta. So now, just before that, this is one thing I never read anywhere, but this is my little realization. To get Krishna, all we need is one tulsi leaf. We have so many stories. One tulsi leaf, we can obtain Krishna. That's what the scripture says. Just imagine tulsi has so many leaves. Is there so many Krishnas? This one, just imagine how great she is. But if you understand that, you understand the sweetness of tulsi. The point I was trying to make, to understand the greatness and the sweetness, one has to pay the price. That's a sincerity. Radhanath Maharaj, my Guru Maharaj says the three things: sincere, serious, and no ulterior motives. Sincere and serious, no ulterior motives. That pay the path. That opens the door for this transcendence. Bhaktyatma aham evam vidachana gnatum dishtuncha tatmena praveshtuncha parantapa. Krishna opened the secrecy of this realm, which is not known, not seen by anybody. But if you follow the footsteps of Mahajans. Okay? Next, let's talk about, you know the famous story, Aradhyo Bhagavan Rajesa Tanaya, Tadharma Bandhavan Ramya Kachit Upasina, Vrajavadu Varkena Vakalpita, Srimad Bhagavatam Pramana Amalam, Prema Martha Mahan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Matam Idam Tatrana Para. So, this mood of following the footsteps of Krishna with gopis is explained in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This verse comes in there by Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. In a few more verses I will say. In that mood, they explain why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained. Now we come into the core, internal reasons. So first we'll touch base external reasons. Simply. External reasons, very simple. To save the world. Yada yada hi dharma saddhani vigut bharat. So now Krishna comes with weapons, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes with a weapon of holy name. Essence is same, to save the world. And then to show how to surrender to Krishna. So he gives the process of bhakti, Sankirtan movement. The third, to beautifully explained by Prabhupada Prabhu a couple of weeks before Advaita Acharya's appearance there. So to fulfill Advaita Acharya's desire. Because Advaita Acharya, the Tulsi leaf, he offered with a love, he worshipped so that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can come and save the world. So these three external reasons. Now internal reasons. First is to relish the position of Radharani. Krishna is Ashraya, Vishaya, Radharani is Ashraya, which is the one is a master, other is a servant. One is gives the shelter, other who takes the shelter. To how does Krishna can take a shelter of Krishna? To understand that, he has to understand the position of Radharani who takes. So that is the first Krishna to understand the position of Radharani. The second internal reasons, to now understand the position and then to understand the transcendental mellow of himself. So he has so many energies. Tushti, Pushti, Samtushti, Jira, Bu, Ila, Samvit, Sandhini. Like you name it, every energy. So all those energies Krishna uses when he comes as Nrsimhadev, Varahadev, or Vamandev for different purposes, different pastimes. But they never used all those incarnations all at the same time. But Krishna used all of them, in his tenure in this 120 years, 128 years, but he never used also all of them at the same time. He used different Satya Sankalpa Shakti when he was being tried to caught by his mother. He used that. Like Vidya. There's so many Shaktis. We can have a different discussion. All these energies. So all these energies, to understand the greatness of God, we have to analyze these energies. How great, like Lagna Siddhi, Prapti Siddhi, Vakama Siddhi, all these siddhis, like becoming lighter than lightest, greater than greatest, all these siddhis and his fingertips to help him, to serve him so that he can do pastimes. But all this, when Nrsimhadev came, he did his job and he left. Same thing with Vamanadeva Varahadeva. When Krishna was there, he did from Balya Lila, Madhya Lila, Antya Lila, so do Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So during these Leelas, we can understand this Tattvas, this Rasa, all those things. But Krishna also did not use all of them at the same time. What did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do? Nam Akarina Buddha Nija Sarva Shakti. He says in that, I invested all of my energies in the holy name. When you chant the holy name, you have access to all the energies. Even Krishna did not exhibit all the time. That is the greatness of holy name. How many of us experience that when you chant Hare Krishna? We don't even know all the energies Krishna uses. Occasionally, they are at your fingertips. But we are so miser. We don't have a taste. So unfortunate. Now, Krishna as Radharani try to understand that. Try to understand that the mellow of himself. When one day in Ramayana, all the monkey warriors throwing the stones after writing the Ram name. Ram came. He also wanted to do something. He also throw one stone and just synced. And Hanuman laughed. Then he said, write the name. Now we throw it. We throw it this time. He says, holy name is more merciful. He says, Ram, your holy name is more merciful than you. Just to show, like so to understand, this is a second reason what Krishna wants to understand, the transcendental mellow of himself. Now, third is to experience the bliss. Understand the role of Radharani, understand what he has his mellows, and then to relish that. That's what he did last 18 years in Gambhira. If you read Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Charitamrita, explained how, how we see Jagannath here. So when he's in ecstasy, when you and me get angry, we may have these big eyes, but when he gets ecstasy, that was his eyes, hands goes in, head goes in, body shrink. Like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also exhibited so many Astabhava siddhis, so he cries, head starts to run him, and then he faint, he become, phased sometimes, it explained, sometimes he falls, and all his bones give up. Just imagine if a skeleton, the bones give up, like a flesh fall off. There's so many symptoms, I'm not going to explain those details here, but you only have to read and experience. To experience that, what does that mean of separation of Radharani? So these are the three internal reasons. And then, my dear devotees, the same Chaitanya Prabhu is giving those three to all of us through the holy name. What he experienced that, he can experience the same. This unfathomable. I'm such an idiot, I have no good qualities, but somehow why he made me to sit and talk, and why he asked me to do so many services. He is being served the goddess of fortunes. When an opportunity comes to serve, how grateful we should be. How grateful. Thank you very much. I don't know when I'll come and see you again, when I come to temple again, when I come serve again. But when he comes, what we do? Name, fame, power, influence. Short-term benefits. He's looking for a long-term. Eternal is giving us place. He can build the temple within. But how do we track that? How do we access that? That is available for all of us. As Prabhupada said, you have no qualification. You don't understand what you're getting. Devotees from 9:30 to 11:30, they were doing so wonderful kirtan. We were all in the kitchen singing. It was so beautiful. It's a Vaikuntha manifest. When like-minded devotees come together, talk about Krishna, sing glories of Krishna, it manifests that all these energies, they are waiting. Like Prabhu, I'm here, use me. No, I'm chanting. So see, you should do devotees should show me how great I'm chanting, how beautiful I'm chanting. when I cook, Radharani is people to glorify how he's cooking, doing good distribution. So we should not be like Mahabharata explains. We should not be like Ghatotkacha. Even though it's on the Pandava side, Krishna used his talents, his skills, not him. We want to be Arjuna. To kill Kanna, he used Ghatotkacha. Like, we don't want that. We are not a shooting stars. We should never be shooting stars. We should never be the guest of the temple. We are the host. Whoever walks in there, the guest of Radha. That should be the mood. So our talents may there, money there, power is there, influence is there, skills are there. But if we just use for the name and fame, Krishna used them definitely, like a Ghatotkacha. Like we use the curry leaf. After eating, what happened? So we should not. We should be like a salt. We should be like a salt. One time, when Islam was predominantly taking over, they captured this Persian kingdom, especially those days Persian and then Iran. So some of the people who doesn't want to be converted, they all went to India because they know India is the pious kings, and they went. A lot of people came, but they came to the border, and then they didn't know how to talk the language. They sent their priest to that king, saying that somehow they communicated, we need shelter. Like if you are hungry, this is universal language. You are hungry, everybody understand. When somebody is in real hell, somehow or other they find means to communicate. So they communicate. And this king is very pious and very wise king. He didn't want to say boldly yes, boldly no. He said he sent a big pot of milk, fill the brim, and send it. And then the person took him to that. They understood. This person is also very wise. He's saying that we are already full. How can you join us? How can you? Then he added some sugar. Send him back. Come on in. So that season, Tata, Tata, all these people they are very loyal to India. One of these people, I heard this story. Why Tata is loyal? He wanted to serve Indians because his forefathers was accepted to India. So that season he wanted to serve the country. When there is a honesty, when there is a gratitude, that goes for long. Even on the material platform. So now that when we understand these three internal reasons, which is available for all of us. External is there. We chant, we read. They're there. We're building new temples, which is very nice. But what is the purpose of doing that? These internal reasons should guide us. This ashraya, taking the shelter of the service, a genuine attitude to serve. Develop a deep attachment to read Bhagavatam, chant attentively, never miss around. But somehow or other, when we develop that, that's what actually, God helps them, those help themselves. So Krishna, in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to understand his mellow, is also doing a benefit to all of us in the name of a holy name. So just to conclude that 3 points, the Krishna wanted to know what is Radharani's love. Now next he desired to know what is his Rupa Madhuri, which is his beauty and all his energies. And then third, what type of pleasure she derives, he wants to experience that. And he's also sharing with us. So these three internal reasons. There is one word I wanted to say, I was trying to memorize it, I didn't get it yet. Sri Radha Pranaya Mahima Kidriso Va Anayeva Swadhyo Yena Putha Madhurima Kidriso Va Madiyaha Saukyam Chasya Mat Anubhavataha Kidrisam Veti Lobha Tat Bhavatyaha Samjhan Sachi Garbha Sindhu Harinduhu. It is actually, Rupa Goswami said that in Chaitanya Adilila. Desiring to understand the glories of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in him, yet that she alone relishes. This key point here, she alone relishes. That's the greatest of all the gopis is the Radharani. What she understands, what he relishes, nobody cannot. So she alone relishes through her love and happiness. She feels when she realizes the sweetness of his love, the Supreme Lord Hari, richly endowed with her emotions, appeared from the womb of Sri Sachi Devi as the moon appeared from the ocean. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he when he wrote that, actually he did not share. Then eventually he shared with Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami shared this to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was fallen ecstasy. There are so many verses are there, which is amazing. So, but eventually to conclude that, we'll have some time for discussion. It's called Dasamoda Tattva. Just to conclude the points, what is the purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Internal, external reasons. And how did he exhibit through his life, his teaching? He never wrote any books. He only gave 8 Astaka, which is Sista Astaka. Out of that, the crown jewel is Trinada Pisuni Jana, Taroda Pisashna, Amani Namanadina, Kirtane Sadar. But he also said each one is a one class itself. So I'll just read out and then we can discuss a few points. First, knowledge of the soul in relationship with Krishna. It's called Sambandha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his teachings through his actions or through his devotees or the devotees who understand him. This is called Dasamula, 10 principles. So one is to show the world what is the soul's relationship with Krishna. Once we understand the method of awakening that, Sambandha Avideya Prayojana. That's a Sambandha. Next is Videya. The next is, once you develop that, then make that to perfection stage. Okay? Awakening state that relates to, that's called pure love, perfection stage. Now we also taught Achinta Beda Beda Tattva. So there's so many acharyas there. They give different, like we have Advaita, Dvaita, Vishisha Dvaita. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Achinta Beda Beda Tattva. So these my devotees, this is what I understood. So anything you do, Krishna Leela, pastimes, Siddhanta, Tattva, or Rasa, fall into these four categories. First is Tattva, the nature. The second is Siddhanta, the philosophy. And the third is Leela. How we exhibit that, I'll give an example, understand. And the fourth is Rasa. For example, take sugar. Siddhanta of sugar, how does it look like? By looking at the theory, crystal, white color. The next is Tattva. What is the Tattva of sugar? Sweetness. Okay, you understand Siddhanta, you understand Tattva. Now, that you can make so many sweets. How you do, like you can make gulab jamun, you can make rasamalai, you can do this, so that's called Leela. So to enact a certain thing so that you and me can relate. So that's called Leela. And next, through the Leela, what is the purpose? Rasa, to experience the mellow, to nourish, tusti, pusti, samtusti. Nourishment, happiness, and satisfaction. So anything you take Krishna's Leela, fall into either of the four. Krishna is still in the butter. If you don't understand the Tattva, you can understand Siddhanta. Then he's doing through Leela. How can God can steal? This God can steal? It's superficial. But if you understand Siddhanta and Tattva, through Leela you can understand the Rasa. If you only have Rasa, it's called Sahaja. There is no Siddhanta, it's a sentimental. There is no, this is not mentioned in Tattva in scriptures. It's a mental concoction too. Sentimental mental concoction. So that's the reason he says this Achinta Beda Beda Tattva is amazing. It can reconcile any aspect of spirituality. Any aspect of different acharyas. Acharya A says something, Acharya B says something. It may contradict. But if you understand this principle, Achinta Beda Tattva, it can reconcile. This is what Jiva Goswami explained in Tattva Sangarbha. There is no differences among the acharyas. But it's my understanding that I do not understand. But if you understand that, through the philosopher Achinta Beda Beda Tattva, simultaneously oneness and different. Through that, you can understand this concept. Then you can enter the secrecy and the realm of Rahasya Tattva. The Rahasya Tattva is the secret of this Radha and Krishna pastimes. Or even understanding the Krishna holy name is not different. That's the Achinta Beda Tattva. We understand, still not there. I chant, I don't feel it. Sometimes I get, sometimes not. So this Achinta Beda Tattva is amazing contribution of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, fourth one. And the next is, he also attracted all kinds of people. Not only scholar, or wise, or pious. His mercy is a magnanimous, his audharya. That is something, the reason I'm here, because of that. I have no qualification. But somehow or other, because of that nature of Radharani, somehow she keeps me around. That comes from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mood, attracting everybody. No hard, no fast rule. There's no hard and fast rule. It's a soft and slow. Okay. Now, next is, through that is also imparting the knowledge. Bhakti has jnana, it's also dhyan, it also has a karma, everything in it. So now how Bhakti, which is a superlative of all yogas, at the same time if you understand the Bhakti, you can also use Bhakti in every aspect of it. For example, Bhagavad Gita says that middle 6 chapters is Bhakti, first 6 is karma, last 6 is jnana. But however, if you understand that, if you read 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, then you come to a situation even we can find the Bhakti in the first words itself in the Bhakti. Because I didn't have an experience. One time, one beggar wants to understand what his gold look like. He's about to die. He's poor. He didn't have any money. He never seen gold, but he wanted to see what his gold looked like. He walked into a kingdom, a king's court, and then he looked at Pity and he said, okay, what do you want to know? I want to see how does gold look like. He said, okay, chalo, no problem. This person is about to die. So now right now I'm busy. He comes to this door. Come through that door. Eventually, you come to the big one palace, one place. I'll meet you there. I'll show you. This person started walking. As he's walking, he saw so many things in between, like some nice paintings, nice furniture, nice this and that, some fountains, all those things. Then finally, he came to the room. He was waiting there, and then king comes. So, what do you want to know? I want to know what is gold like. Then he showed him. Okay, this is gold ornament. The gold, this, gold that, gold mukut, all those things. Oh, this is how gold look. Then he went back. When I saw that, I saw the gold steps there. I saw there's a gold painting there. I saw gold flower there. He saw it, he didn't have experience, so he could not connect. The same thing, once you understand Krishna Tattva, you can understand Krishna Tattva not in only six chapters of Bhagavad Gita, in between. Even though it is there, but it is there in every verse of Bhagavad Gita. But how do you see that? Right now, when I chant, I'm spiritual. When I come to temple, I'm spiritual. When I do devotion service, but the God is everywhere. How do you access that? Krishna says, I'm the taste of the water. How many of us feeling the taste of Krishna? He's everywhere. He's all pervasive. But I don't have experience of that. One time, somebody asked Radha Swami Maharaj, how can you love everybody? Because I taste the love from my mother. Unless you don't have what you have, how can you give? So you have some experience of what you have. So that's the reason. So the transcendental knowledge, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives from Vedic knowledge, he also gave that one. Next is then inaugurating the Sankirtan movement. But how all these things can make it happen, available to everybody. The Sankirtan movement. What Sankirtan means together. Samyak. Iti Samyak. So next is, and then eventually through that what happens? Delivering the fallen souls. Like me. What is the audacity to even say that? I'm a devotee. No. I don't qualify. I have qualification, but somehow or other, he is giving. So, the next is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's his own Leela, pastimes and darshans. How many of you read Chaitanya Bhagavat? Chaitanya Charitamrita? So, please read if you can again and again. So, Prabhupada said Bhagavad Gita is the ABCD, a spiritual life. Bhagavad is the graduate studies. Chaitanya Charitamrita is a post-graduation, PhD. There will be bewildered some of the things. If you don't have a base of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, what he does, how he does, the sweet relationships with his devotees. So through that, he taught us. The last is his preaching mission. Has his associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Mahaprabhu, Advaita Acharya, like Srivas Thakur, and then so many. So this is the Dasamula, that 10 tattvas of Chaitanya. Right? Sorry. So he not only taught, he exhibited, he taught through his actions. So we talked about internal reasons, we talked about external reasons, we talked about understanding greatness, how a Jiva cannot understand, Brahma cannot understand, even Krishna cannot understand what we think we can understand. Our understanding that I cannot understand, that is the right understanding. Then everything falls in place. Everything will fall in place. And then the mercy fall. We only have 2 hands to receive. We have unlimited hands. When you decided to give, at the same time, when you're proud, when you take with so many hands, We only have 2 hands to defend. So we don't want to be Gatotkacha. We want to be Arjuna. Of course, eventually Gatotkacha is also fought for Krishna. I'm just to make a point as that I was just saying, don't think in negative way. Okay? Like that, there are so many things which you can learn from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and so many verses which Agni Purana, Machi Purana, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Bhagavatam. There are so many verses mention all the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's predictions. Why is Channa Avatar? What is his purpose? Why he came? But ultimately, these are 3 internal reasons. So, devotees, thank you very much for your kind attention. That's first Sunday feast, and also it is a prelude for the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, which we are going to celebrate. Ramesh Prabhu will do announcements. Any comments, questions, or corrections? Kamil Mataji, please, like to add something?
Prabhu, can you explain the Gatotkacha story? I don't know. What was his shortcoming?
Yeah. So, Mahabharata, Gatotkacha is actually son of Bhima. So, his mother is called Hidimba, which is, she lived in the forest when Pandavas incognito, traveling from forest to forest, they came to one particular place, and then she saw Bhima, he's so powerful, and she liked him. She wanted to marry him. It's called Rakshasa Vivaha. But eventually, then he said, I don't want. And then, but she approached to Kunti, and Kunti made them marriage. Eventually, they got the kid, which is immediately grown up. He said, I cannot take you. When I need it, I'll let you know. So even though he is come from Bhima, but he didn't follow Vedic principles. He does everything outside. So sometimes, in the name of devotion, people do their own things. That mentality of Mahabharata explained Gatotkacha. So just imagine Gatotkacha and Arjuna. They're both the same family, but however, he didn't have appreciation for Vedic literatures or rituals or the things we're supposed to. He does unconventional ways. He doesn't follow any guru. He doesn't follow what do's and don'ts. But when it is needed, when Pandavas were stuck in Dvaitavan, got forest fire, and then they need to be airlifted. So they called him. He comes, he airlifted them, took it to the next place. Like the time to time he was there to help, but he never appreciated the divinity and the devotion of devotees and the sentiments of devotees, and also the do's and don'ts of devotional life. But he does his own way. So he is by nature is a demoniac person, like the dynasty of demon. He eats meat, he does killing, whatever he does, all the things he does it. But he is nice when it comes to devotees. So Krishna used his talents to save Arjuna, because Karna had Shakti weapon, which he exchanged with Indra. So Indra wanted his Kavach and Kundal. So Karna gave that. In return, he got Shakti weapon. He said that weapon can kill anybody. So he was using that to kill Arjuna. So to save Arjuna, Krishna never brought Arjuna in front of Karna during 15 days, 16 days of war, because he can use it. So Krishna is avoiding. But the time has come where Karna about to kill Arjuna, the Krishna planned and said, Arjuna, you don't go. Gatotkacha, you go and confront Karna. So now, to use that weapon, misuse that weapon, what do you call that? To nullify that weapon, so he was used Gatotkacha. So now when eventually comes Karna decided, because Gatotkacha is killing left and right everybody. So what is about to happen end that day? But then eventually Dronacharya and Duryodhana came to Karna. So what are you waiting? Why don't you kill him? No, I'm waiting this weapon for different purpose. That's my life goal, to kill him. Tomorrow, forget it. If there is a tomorrow comes. Today, kill him, others will be killed. So Krishna's perfect plan to save Arjuna, and use the Gatotkacha. Now he go and stand in the front. He fought and eventually was killed. And even when he was killed, he was in the air. And that time, Krishna gave intelligence to Bhima, tell him to expand his body. and fall is a thick crowd of the people. So he can kill more. So Krishna used him, like his talents, his skills. So eventually that is done. That is the point I was trying to make. So the Mahabharata explains we should not be like Gadotkach, we should be like Arjuna. So Vidura explains this principle. We can talk in detail later, but this is the point I was trying to make. We should, all our talents, skills, which is good, we use in Krishna's service, but our real mood should be giving our life. Not just talents, a skills, some money, but a life. That is the transformation brings. That's what we can learn from Arjuna. That address your question. Not clear?
No, I think I don't have the context. Seems to me like from the story he sacrificed his life. I don't understand why is it not laudable. But that's okay. That can be discussed.
Yeah, he sacrificed, but the purpose of sacrifice is to save somebody. But that's saving somebody. How do you explain this? Is anybody Mahabharata people here?
So he was used as a distraction instead of the main
Correct.
purpose.
Yeah. What is the principle here?
His principle was not to please Krishna. His principle was his relatives.
Thank you. So I was just looking for. So his intention is not to please Krishna.
So like feeding ego virtually instead of love.
Yeah. So he's definitely he has a lot of ego. He doesn't follow rules and regulations. He does his own way, because in my terms. So there is no intention of pleasing Krishna, because he is very loyal to his father Bhim. He has some good qualities. Krishna used that to save. So, but his intention is not to please. Okay, I'll come if that's what you wanted. I'll do it. But there is no love for Krishna. The point of there is no love for. So Krishna used him. He not used him. Used his skills because for higher purpose. So that is the point. Thank you for giving me that. Yes.
So thank you for this discourse that it covered a lot of points and really is bringing us into the mood of Mahaprabhu's appearance. So I have a question regarding two things you said. So you mentioned that Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarvasham is that the Lord has invested all of his potencies in his holy name. And you also said that the Lord can reconcile all contradictions through his Achinta Bheda. So recently I've been reading about this philosophy that occurred in the early 20th century in Russia. It was called Yugoslavia, and the philosophy was that the name of the Lord is non-different from the Lord. And so these were Christian people, and they had come to this philosophy, and then therefore they were doing name worshiping. They were repeating the name of the Lord, and this was considered a heresy by the Orthodox Church, because they said, well, the Lord has many different names in many different languages, so if he's not different from the name, then instead of being one Lord, he'll be many. So how can the Lord be many? It's not monotheistic. And they came and attacked the monks or and said, oh, you're heretics, and they seized their monastery and threw them in prison and so forth. So, as you said, that the Lord can reconcile everything. So how is it that he is one Lord if he's not different from his name, and his names are many names?
Yeah. So my understanding is that. So I don't know the context of that. Even in in Christian theology, but nam and namni both are same theoretically, but I don't have realization. But however, is same because they are non-different. Prabhupada used the non-different. Non-difference is, for example, there is a difference, but non-difference. So, for example, I have my hand is here, the light is here, it's falling on my hand, and there is a shadow there. So, if I take the hand, there is no shadow, there is no darkness. But is the darkness part of the light, or the absence of the light?
It's both.
It's both, right? So that's the reason holy name and Krishna is non-different. At the same time, there is a difference. Achinda Beda Beda, that aspect of reconciling both, you have to understand the tattva nature. But I don't know about what they explained that time. Do they understand the tattva? I don't know.
Yeah, they didn't have much in the main.
Even Aristotle or somebody else, a Greek poet, when he was these ripe days, he was giving so much of knowledge about the God, but they were not ready. They were about to hang him or kill him. And then the person who was about to kill him, they asked him, where do you want me to bury you? First you have to find me to bury me. They didn't understand what does it mean. You have to find me where to bury me. So when we talk about this Vedic literature, there is a context. There is a supporting scriptures there, Leela is there, but I don't know what is that time, what they could understand. I don't know about that. But from theology, from Vaishnava theology perspective, we can reconcile based on any of the activities explained by acharyas, because I don't know what their acharyas in that particular team, what they explain. I don't know the context. But the principle is Krishna and his holy name is non-different. Theoretically we can understand, but how do you experience that? Or love him. So the intensity of the practice of the sadhaka, that can be revealed. That's laulam is actually the intense greed. When we chant Hare Krishna, thank you very much Krishna for giving me this opportunity to chant your holy name. So, Ichha Dvesha Samudhyana Dvanda Mohena Bharata. We are in dualities of that. So when we left the spiritual world, we came for reason to become a god. Ichha Dvesha. When we cannot do that, the Dvesha comes. So now with the chanting, the Dvesha should become a prema. When Dvesha becomes prema, Ichha is still same. Now that time Ichha I want to become a master. Now I want to become a servant. The nature of the desire is changing from master to servant. Activity is same. So now, then it opens up, and it's through Krishna's mercy we understand that. So if you don't get the dimension, then absolute truth has many facets. That depends on, it's called perspective and perception. What you see, from where do you see? What you see, from where do you see? Depends on where you are, and then it's absolute, it customizes such a way that you can access. But as you progress, it changes dynamically. The same Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we're chanting for 20 years. What you realize one day is different than 20 years later. One find a sudden, oh my God, I didn't know this. I read it superficially, but one day it will become your second nature. When it becomes a second nature, when you chant Hare Krishna, you cannot even stop. Yesterday we were talking about good japa and bad japa. The main symptom of a bad japa, good japa is that when you're doing bad japa, you struggle. When is the round come to end? Is it 108 or 1008? But when you have a good japa, you don't even know you're done round. Then you want to chant more. The time ceases. That is the key factor. In pure bhakti, then absorption. When we are on the altar, when we are dressed rather than at work, curtain is closed. I don't know about others. Time ceases. There is nothing else, just you and Krishna. When you dress so intensely, you're thinking what to do, everything, minute thing, what to put, what is next, what is how to do. When you're absorbed, you forget your presence. You forget that there's a time. Then you become an instrument of Krishna, and that time you understand is non-different than deity and Krishna. That's non-different than holy name and Krishna. One has to, it's called experiential. Unless a person comes to that only comes when we allow Krishna to take charge. When we chant Hare Krishna, let it through. Like, I always envision this. When we chant, when we get that kind of a mood, once in a while Krishna gives. Like, just imagine free fall from the, what do you call it, big mountains, outfalls. And then you go to 100th floor and leave a dry leaf, how it falls. There's a slow motion. Even though when we chant attentively, you can teach the time. You can teach the time. You're so perfect. Every minute, every round, exactly the same. It falls all the energies in such a way that you can experience. that one has to experience that. There's no words in the words can explain that. That time you can understand Krishna's name and Krishna is not different. So it's a little esoteric. I'm just going a little bit beyond my comprehension. I'm just saying what I know. Anybody else want to add anything to the question? Lila Mataji, want to add anything?
Now it's time to taste.
Okay. Now let's give a big round of applause to all the devotees who patiently listening. But I have to blabber.
Hare Krishna Prabhu ki
Jai!
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai!
in person Sunday feast ki
Jai! Jai!
Let's stand up and then we'll have a kirtan.
Even